Now, what happens if Mars is conjunct Chiron? Mars is having a very close aspect with Chiron. Now, Mars is, of course, the planet of action, and Mars is our ego, I suppose. I think even without having Mars in your horoscope, I wouldn't be able to do a video like this. So we all need Mars, and we all have Mars in our horoscope. Now, people with Mars conjunct Chiron, woman or man, they have, every time they try to take action, there's something that blocks them, or every time they want to take action that is very connected with their being, they kind of feel pain. They feel or suppressed, so that the action is suppressed, or the other way around, so it's a bit too much Mars. So it's not an easy aspect to have. It's a challenging aspect, but again, there is this special ingredient that can be so important in a child, especially when transits are happening. Now, first of all, as I do with all the other videos of the moon and the sun, if we have Mars conjunct Chiron, it's a very good thing that you try to understand where it comes from. And again, I know quite some people in my family who've got Mars conjunct Chiron, and also with clients. And every time again, when these people say like, but I can't really recall that from my youth, what happened there, or I can't really understand why I feel that my Mars is suppressed, or I can't express my Mars. But I always say I always say it in the lines of a joke, but I always say that maybe in a former life you were a slave and you weren't entitled. Now in this life you feel like if I act, I'm going to be punished. And mostly these people who've got Mars conjunct Chiron say, yeah, I resonate with that a lot. So I'm not suggesting here that everyone who's got Mars conjunct Chiron that they were slaves in other lives, but it has something to do with when you show what you want to do, there is punishment there. So whether it is from former lives or maybe in your youth, it could have been that you had, I've seen people who had dads who were, of course I refer to mom and dad because they were the first persons who were in our lives and who were important. Of course, for some people they didn't have a mom or a dad, but there always was someone, or a grandma or a granddad, who was important. But it could have been like your dad was suppressing your own Mars by or being very aggressive, or like I've people told me that the belt, there was the belt when I did something wrong, so they were punished. Or in other scenarios could be that there was a strong male figure, and by that they were like choosing for everything that is masculine. And then let's say mom and dad, and you are a child and you choose for the dad because you feel that he is suppressed himself because he can't do what he wants, or he is doing the opposite, so he's acting very Mars-like, very in the negative way, very violent, because he feels very weak. And you see that and you associate or identify with that, because it is the identification with the pain that people do with a person, a planet conjunct Chiron. Or in other ways, it could have been the opposite. It could have been, my mum had Mars conjunct Chiron as well. And of course, if you're a woman, it's a bit different. It could mean that you attract men that have an issue with Mars. And that can be either way, be violent or suppress the Mars. So these are the two extremes. And she told me that her dad was like, her mom and dad, she chose for that because he was the most gentle of the two. So he was actually very suppressing his Mars. You know, what his wife did, he didn't agree, but he said, you know, she is like this. You know, the very super gentle man, you could say. And because of that, you kind of suppress your own Mars, and it's more the figure of being depressed. Not necessarily that you don't act in any way, but you're not really standing up for yourself. And this is a huge issue for people who've got Mars conjunct Chiron. So I gave you here a couple of scenarios, but it has to do with that acting and suppressing it. Or the other side of the medal is, of course, you're overdoing that Mars, and you only have to look in the newspapers or in the news to see what happens then when there is too much of a Mars in the negative way. So these people may look, you know, Mars conjunct Chiron. I know someone in my family who's got this in Aries, and even an Aries ascendant, and I was really surprised because he's so gentle, and he has a Pisces moon, so he really is very receptive. That receptive nature is very much what people see. But I wondered, where is that Mars? I mean, a Mars in Aries, but it's conjunct Chiron, so in this case it is suppressed, and it is this fear almost of, when I show my Mars, I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to be punished, there is pain involved. And so it's a lot of, like, when you've got this Mars conjunct Chiron, you could say on a soul level, that you have picked this life out, that you will come into situations where you will need to stand up for yourself in some way, and especially when you got transits on that Chiron or on your Mars or progressed Mars, because this shows that even when it is a Mars in Aries, it is so afraid to express itself. And that comes from somewhere. So if you don't really know where it comes from, it's a good thing to research that. But at a certain point, you will know where it comes from, and then you will probably have a transit that accelerates your healing with this Mars. And like this family member that I know, he's having now Uranus bang on this Mars Chiron. And it is so liberating for him, because, and now is the most important thing of the Chiron, he becomes actually, so the things that he's doing now, he's having for the first time in his life, he's having a bit of success with the actions that he's taking. And it's in a very Aries way. He wants to get into politics, and he's doing a project now, which is very much about himself. But it's actually through him being the voice for other people. And that is so Mars Chiron-like, and so Chiron-like, that through other people, you actually almost need other people. Through the standing up for those other people, you kind of stand up for yourself, because these people, Mars conjunct Chiron, cannot stand up for themselves in a normal Mars way. They can't. There is a wound, and it will be there for their whole lives. But doesn't mean to say that they can heal it through the interaction, again, with other people. I've seen also people who've got this and who went into the union, and it was in the 10th house, I suppose, and I went a member of the union, and there all of a sudden they have to stand up for other people, and they have to speak for other people. And because doing that, they're healing themselves, they're standing up for themselves. So actually, when people are having like a Uranus transit on their Chiron, or a Uranus transit on this Mars, it is not only with Uranus, of course, but every time a slow planet is aspecting this, it's like an opportunity to deal with it. And in this case, when it is Uranus and Pluto, it is liberating, but it is going through the fear. When it is Neptune, it is dissolving, and so on and so on. So I actually had also on my progress Mars, I had Uranus passing by, and my progress Mars was opposing my Chiron, natal Chiron, and Uranus also transited. And I also had to do something Mars-like. I really had to stand up for myself. For me, it was work, because it was in the 10th house. And Mars in Libra is quite a bit clumsy, but it doesn't mean to say that it's going to be wrong or bad or violent, but it can be as simple as, I'm not going to do this job anymore. And this is actually Mars-like. This is standing up for yourself. So, of course, you have to consider all your the houses, the aspect, etc. But that is the flavor. And these people can become great teachers of teaching to other people how they have to use their Mars at the best. And at the best, I mean in a good way, in an assertive way, and not in an arrogant way. There's a difference between being arrogant and between being assertive, standing up for yourself. And this is a huge opportunity for people who have this. What else? Well, actually, the perfect medicine for these people is the liberation of the Mars. And when they're having these transits, it really means, hey, it's 1 minute before 12. You really need to act upon that, and therefore they can be an example for other people of courage and an example of not giving up. Because these people, they have been punished and they have been, when they show their Mars, or ridiculed or whatever in former life, in this life, it doesn't really matter. The thing is, it's there, and you need to work with it, because otherwise it will get you depressed, or it will get you, to be a bully, you could say. Because people who are hurt are the people, of course, and people who are very much hurt, and especially with people who've got planets conjunct Chiron, these are people who've got wounds, very deep wounds. We all have them, but when it's conjunct a person or planet, it is very easy to wound other people, yourself. So and also people who told me with this Mars conjunct Chiron, this very gentle person, he also said to me that he actually feels, and whether it is belief, of course, with Mars conjunct Chiron, he actually feels that if he would show his Mars, he would be like a monster. And of course, that wouldn't be, probably it wouldn't be the case, but even if it's just a belief of that person that when they demonstrate their Mars, are going to be or a monster or someone really terrible. And so it's a lot about self-worth as well. Gaining self-worth through other people, helping other people. Again, helping them, not saving them, of course, because if you try to do that, then you will also be very unhappy, because you can't save anyone. You just can help, and you can learn other people how to fish and not giving them the fish all of the time. So I think that's it for, you have to do it for yourself. This Mars conjunct Chiron, whatever you do, joining the unions or standing up for yourself, but for other people as well, you really have to do that for yourself. That is really key. And recognizing Mars in other people as well is very, very good. I also saw this with, it could be, not necessarily, because Mars is, of course, it's the planet of action, and is also associated with sexuality, that there are wounds with the sexuality. It could be, but not necessarily. But it could be fear of that. Fear of when I express myself, when I have sex with someone, yes, there is this punishment, or there is this not feeling good about themselves, because there is a fear involved. So it could be a wound of that as well. It could have to do as well with abuse, but there has to be other things, I think. With abuse, it could be the case that because you were, let's say in your youth, you were abused and sexually or even psychologically for a long time as a child, then you associate pain, that is life. You associate it, okay, that's the way it is. It's and it's very difficult for those people to inverse that, to return it into something, oh, I can enjoy myself, I can enjoy life. So it could have to do with that as well. That was one of these scenarios that I did mention. Or with women who've got Mars conjunct Chiron, who have a bit of an thing with men. You know, men are like this. I've seen that as well, because they can't get into terms with their own Mars, and therefore they really step aside and really think the masculine is not good, or they do the other side. They think, oh, only the masculine is good. But anyways, I think I've said enough about Mars conjunct Chiron. Wishing you all the best with it. And if you want me to look at your chart, if you've got this or this resonates with you, please don't hesitate to contact me or to do a reading. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.